So you also ran for president.
Ran for
long
president.
Before a certain gentleman who now occupies the White House.
Matter of fact, until he ran, I was the only African American to run for president. Wait, look. Did y'all come to hear me? I come to hear you. Shirley Chisholm.
Was a woman.
Shirley Chisholm. Al Sharpton. And all the others.
Carol Moseley Braun. Jesse
They
Jackson.
ran in the primary. I ran on a write-in candidate and had Obama not won the primary, then up until this day, I would still be the only black in the history of America to run for president of the United States. That's why you got to be careful with perception. Now, had I been, I never realized how lucky white folks are, I mean, when you finally get an African American that's your president, he's a nice, polite one. Went to Harvard. Oh, head of his class. See, what y'all really needed was a brother like me. And you'd have had a lot to write about.
Oh, yeah.
Because my first act, after I was sworn in, would go to the White House and dig up that rose garden and plant me a watermelon patch.
Well, Michelle's got that garden. Maybe you can talk to her about that now.
No, they are.
They're not into that, huh?
They are kind of. And there'd been no white folks in my cabinet. Y'all didn't laugh on that one, did you? And you black folks, the only way you'd qualify to be in my cabinet, you had to go no further in school than the 3rd grade.
So how do you think Barack Obama's doing so far?
Well, I haven't put my cabinet together yet. Let me do that.
Okay, all right. Okay. Then you can tear his apart.
You see, my belief is this. If these white folks that messed up this country this bad, with cabinets, with PhDs, and some of the wealthiest people in the world, and if we end up with this mess, let me try something different. Some Negroes ain't never been to school, can't read, can't write, and let's see if we can change it. Well, I got a cousin outside of St. Louis, Jabbo. He'd be my Secretary of Defense. And I can just see these white folks on 60 Minutes. Jabbo, now that you're secretary, what you planning on doing about defense? Say, first I'm gonna fix it, then paint it.
Listen, Dick Gregory's still getting these jokes off from the grave, everybody. Welcome to the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown, in celebration in honor of Black History Month. We're leading off today's show with a clip right there from the late, great Dick Gregory at a talk he gave at the Chicago Humanities Special Negro Contingent. I don't know what they was doing at the Chicago Humanities. But yes, Dick Gregory, American activist, comedian, civil rights leader, and just a nigga that's gonna tell it like it is. And we miss Dick Gregory. Can y'all believe that Dick Gregory passed away in 2017 and here we are in 2021 without Dick Gregory? Real quick, before we get into all the particulars of the show, first of all, hello. I'm so happy to see y'all smiling faces up in the place. Very sorry that we did not have a show on Tuesday. I was feeling under the weather, and to everybody that reached out and commented on our community post about Tuesday's show cancellation. Thank you guys. Thank y'all so much for caring. I will survive. I do not have the COVID. And that's okay. But it was not COVID that I didn't feel good. I just didn't feel good. And I'm at an age now, and I think people in my age range can probably appreciate this. You know, I'm not here to power through shit. That's what 20-somethings do. That's what 30-somethings do. 40-somethings, no, nigga, we're taking the day off, okay? I don't feel good. I'm not going to work today. And I appreciate having this space and a wonderful audience of you guys who understand that. So thank you all very much. Welcome again, like I said, to the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Please like, subscribe, and share. And today's program is going to be a relaxed one, shall we say, because we don't have any guests. So I don't have nobody to act proper for. So I keep holding up these little nuggets. I'm sure y'all think Kim don't know nothing about no weed. Yes, I know plenty about weed, but so anyway, we're going to smoke today. We're going to smoke today, and we're going to talk about your man. And I know some of y'all like, Kim, you can't spend the next 4 years bashing Joe Biden. Well, some people out here made a whole living off bashing Barack Obama and Donald Trump. Why not me? Why not this be my turn to get these jokes off and these complaints lodged against Joe Biden? So Joe Biden continuing his interesting presidency very early on in his term, but he's still pushing for policies that don't do enough and doing a lot of half-hearted things. And not to mention, Joe Biden didn't have much to say about the impeachment trial that is, I believe, in its final day today in the Senate. We're going to talk about the impeachment too, because for everybody out there who believes that the Democrats have presented an infallible case against Donald Trump, which they likely have, that doesn't equal accountability for the race, gender, and class to which Donald Trump is a part of. And the sooner our Democratic friends understand that, in America, rich white men are seldom held legally accountable, or if they are held accountable, it's ways that do not actually harm them, right? So hold on, before we get into all that. Today, I do not know what number it is, dear, but if we could, can you cue up Jamie Raskin, if you would not mind? Because as I said, the Democrats laid out a very impressive case for Trump to be found guilty of inciting an insurrection. There's no doubt that that's exactly what he did. The doubt is, will he be held accountable? And what does accountability look like for Donald Trump? Y'all gonna fine Donald Trump? What, $10 million? For all the talk about him not being a billionaire, I'm pretty sure Donald Trump got $10 million sitting around, right? Are you going to preclude him from seeking federal office again? Well, I think that would probably be the most sensible remedy. But do the Democrats have the votes to do that? Are there enough Republicans who are willing to join the Democrats in not only convicting Donald Trump, impeaching him for a second time, but making sure that he is ineligible for federal office going here henceforth? I'm not sure that those votes are there. But I wanted us to play a clip of Congressman Jamie Raskin, a portion of his case that he laid out for the Senate as part of the House impeachment managers. It was Raskin. It was the young woman who represents the Virgin Islands. I'd never seen her before. Is it Plunkett or something along those lines? Again, Democrats don't lack for smarts. All them Bamas went to law school. They all can put together a very cohesive and cogent presentation that makes total legal sense. Again, is there political will on the side of conservatives to hold one of their own accountable? I don't think so. But let's listen to what Jamie Raskin had to say and listen to the questions that he set forth to the Senate, the jury in this case, and just see what they're trying to accomplish there. So today, if we could, can we please take a look at Jamie Raskin?
What is impeachable conduct if not this? I challenge you all to think about it. If you think this is not impeachable, what is? What would be? If President Trump's lawyers endorse his breathtaking assertion that his conduct in inciting these events was totally appropriate, and the Senate acquits Donald Trump, then any president could incite and provoke insurrectionary violence against us again. If you don't find this a high crime and misdemeanor today, you have set a new terrible standard for presidential misconduct in the United States of America.
Facts. I don't disagree with any of that. I think Jamie Raskin, look, as we roll up, okay, I think Jamie Raskin makes, again, a lot of points. And if Trump is not held accountable, I think we could probably expect some sort of insurrection to come at his urging to his supporters in another way. If they don't come to the US Capitol, they'll probably come to another state capital, as we saw happen in Michigan over the summer. And not just Michigan, but a lot of other places too, but Michigan stands out. But I want us to take a listen from Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. Whole piece of shit, right? According to some reports, people who have been covering the Senate and how they have been reacting to the case set forth by the House impeachment managers, some senators, Republican senators, are not paying attention. They're walking in and out of the chamber. They're playing, what's the name of one of those games? Farm Animals or some shit on their phone, right? These motherfuckers is not paying attention to this shit. They are not inclined to accept what the House managers are saying, not so much because of what the House impeachment managers are saying is incorrect, it's because it does not benefit them politically to go along with an impeachment of Donald Trump. They do not want to preclude Trump from holding federal office again because Trump is fucking popular amongst Republicans. They don't give a shit if he incited an insurrection. He's Donald Trump. He has become this cult of personality that has transcended the Republican Party. So this idol worship that is happening from a large portion of conservative America to Donald Trump does not make a difference that Trump incited an insurrection. Doesn't make a difference that Trump and his family fully enriched themselves throughout his presidency. And let me tell you something, y'all. I knew the jig was up. I'm basically saying I do not think Trump is going to be held accountable. He's not going to be impeached. He's not going to be precluded from holding office again. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I knew the jig was up for Trump in the sense that won't shit go happen to Trump when I believe it was the Attorney General of both Washington, D.C., Carl Racine, and the AG from Maryland, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been Brian Frosh, right? These Bamas brought emolument charges against Trump, alleging that Donald Trump, specifically the Trump International Hotel, was used to enrich the president and curry favor with foreign nationals who spent their money booking rooms, booking conferences, booking events at the Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C. And the courts threw that out. Now, to me, that was the most blatant and egregious thing that Trump, not egregious, not the most egregious, but easily the most blatant. Clearly, he was enriching himself and his businesses and his families throughout his presidency in very obvious ways, not just with the hotel in downtown DC, but in other ways. And he was not held accountable for that, not by the courts, and most certainly not by his Republican conservative peers. So if Trump's not going to be held accountable, like on the most obvious shit, as obvious as this insurrection is, that should have been the harbinger for a lot of folks. And I just feel as though Democrats, in the same way that they did the Mueller investigation with the Russiagate, invested so much emotionally in we're going to get Trump this time, right? And they didn't get Trump. And what happened? Trump got to serve out his whole first term, even inciting an insurrection, and got to exit stage left somewhat gracefully, right? He was not removed from office. They didn't carry Trump out of the White House in handcuffs. Nothing that would have obviously humiliated him or diminished his standing amongst his supporters. So I want us to take a look at this clip from Josh Hawley, just to give y'all an indication. I'm sure y'all have seen this whole piece of shit. Josh Hawley is just a disgusting little twerp. But his sentiment is of those Republican senators who are not inclined to go along with impeachment or bar Trump from holding office again. Tunde, if we could look at Josh Hollen, that whole piece of shit.
And listen, they have no evidence here that, first of all, that this trial is constitutional, because the Constitution doesn't permit them to do what they're trying to do. They're trying to pursue a personal political vendetta against an ex-president and really against 74 million people who voted for him. And what you see in the comments of Senator Warren and people like Hillary Clinton is they want to silence and write out of American politics half of this country. And they're trying to use an illegitimate proceeding to do that. It is totally inappropriate. It is totally unconstitutional. And it's offensive to the American people. I mean, listen, Harris, right now in my state, we can't get enough vaccine to vaccinate the folks in my state. Right now, our small businesses are in crisis. This is what the Democrats want to do with their time. It's wrong.
Josh Hawley, senator from Missouri. Now, the last 2 points he made about the vaccine and the small businesses, sure. I think a lot of people would agree that the vaccine rollout has been a disaster, not the fault of Joe Biden. A lot of shit is Joe Biden's fault in life, right? But the vaccine rollout, not his fault. I think the Biden administration is going to get their shit together and make sure that there's enough vaccine out there for all. Currently, that is not the case. And I am hoping that this lull that we have in COVID infections right now begins a favorable downward trend, because this country, again, what has fundamentally changed about America since the election of Joe Biden that makes us more capable of dealing with this pandemic than we were under Donald Trump? And please, let me just make it clear for the record, y'all, fuck Donald Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a conservative. I'm not none of that shit. But at the same time, I have seen incompetence at leadership from both Republicans and Democrats at the highest levels and at local levels too. So just because one incompetent leaves office does not make the next person coming in somehow less incompetent or perhaps more capable of handling the situation better. Because as I'm sure you guys have noticed in blue and red states alike across the country, everyone's fucking this up, right? Democrats are fucking this up. Californians are furious at Gavin Newsom. Republicans are fucking this up. In Maryland, we hate Larry Hogan and don't understand why people even entertain Larry Hogan outside of the state of Maryland. So this is not necessarily a partisan issue. This is a will issue. Does the American government have the will to settle this COVID issue, which we do not? Meaning that we could be producing vaccines at a much higher level if these pharmaceutical companies weren't determined to somehow profit off of it, right? They could open source the vaccine ingredients to vaccine producers outside of Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson. I mean, there are other labs that can put these things together, but they're not interested in doing that because there's no profit for them. And the American government is okay with them handling this in this way, including the Biden administration, but I digress. I want to get back to the impeachment, because the reason why Donald Trump's not going to be impeached, basically, guys, is because rich, powerful white men of his class are seldom held accountable, especially relative to the harm that they do. They do a lot of harm out here, and they are not often held accountable, and not in any meaningful way. You cannot fine Donald Trump enough money in a way that's going to harm him. There was a report recently, and my dear Genevieve, help me out as to who published this report. I believe it was Politico. Genevieve, correct me if I'm wrong, about how much Jared and Ivanka made during their 4 years in Washington. And it was hundreds of millions of dollars. So unless you're ready to fine the Trump family and the Trump empire $500 million, they don't give a fuck, okay? Because let's say even Trump is precluded from seeking office again or holding federal office again, they're just going to run Ivanka up there. Please favorite this video. And the time that I said it before, even if it's not Donald Trump, it's either going to be Ivanka or it's going to be Don Jr. The MAGA brand is far from finished. Far from finished. We got some comments in the comments. Who's checking in here? What's up, Steely Steve? Steely Steve says, taxpayer dollars flushed down the toilet. Impeachment distraction. Hey, man. Hey. I'm okay with calling it a distraction because and the only reason it's political theater is because it's not going to work. And it's not because I personally don't want Donald Trump to be held accountable. It's just because I'm reading the room, right? the math ain't mathing. They don't have enough numbers to impeach Trump and to preclude him from holding office again, y'all. And I've seen some comments about the incompetence of Donald Trump's representation, right? The people who are defending Trump against this Senate impeachment trial are not doing a good job. But show me again where excellence is demanded of rich white people. It's not. Mediocrity, totally acceptable. They will accept an okay rich white motherfucker, right? As long as he's got a dick and white, he meets the qualifications of whatever, right? And so whether or not Trump's people actually do a good job defending him is really besides the point, okay? There is class and racial and gender solidarity at play here. And that is the reason why we can not delude ourselves into expecting accountability, because again, when have these people ever been held accountable? Also from the comments, Courtney, the SLP says, y'all, this trial is turning into a show, a shit show. It is a total shit show. I just see people really investing like so much emotionally into this. And I hope you don't do that. We have some comments from Periscope. Hey, what's up to hey, if you're watching us on Periscope, find us on YouTube and please hit subscribe, because y'all know Periscope is going away, right? Twitter is get rid of Periscope at the end of March. So all the people that watch us currently on Periscope, please join us on YouTube if it's not too much trouble. We would love to have you. From Periscope. I can't read this shit. This shit is dark. I see that Molly welcomed everybody. And then someone else commented, all of these lofty lies, never any progress. There's a lot of that. Someone else said, knock, knock. And someone else said, that's the truth. And someone else said, what about quality control issues arising from vaccine production? I think that's a very valid point. So my only reference about creating vaccines goes back to the polio days, right? And penicillin. But wasn't it Jonas Salk? I think he invented one of those, not both of those. He might have invented both of them because I think he was a smart motherfucker. Jonas Salk didn't try to patent penicillin, right? He left it open for everybody to make up. So, I mean, I in terms of quality production about the vaccines, we should have somebody on to talk about that. Actually, I'm not going to sit here and try to pontificate like I know what the fuck goes into the process of making vaccines. I do not, but I do know that we are in a crisis stage when it comes to COVID, and let the health experts like Dr. Fauci and the rest of them say that we need to have 85% of Americans, or 80 to 85% of people vaccinated in order to really effectively get rid of COVID. And we're nowhere near that. They are canceling vaccination appointments nationwide by the thousands because of lack of product. Now, I know that the Defense Production Act has been invoked by the Biden administration. Good. That's something good that they've done. But really, the proof is in the pudding. How soon are we going to have it? How soon are we going to get it to the people who need it the most? And let me stress, and I want to raise this point on behalf of the disability community, because I've seen my good friend Jen Deerenwater, Johnny J, Alice Wong. If you know these people from disability Twitter, if you don't follow them, please do. But they raised the issue about vaccination preferences and how people who are over the age of 65 or 75, depending on your state, are given priority over younger people who are immunocompromised or otherwise disabled, who are at as high a risk as elderly people who also may have underlying conditions. And the way that the vaccine is being rolled out completely omits younger people who are disabled, who are immunocompromised, who have underlying conditions, omits them from this equation fully. And that is an epic failure on everyone's behalf. Is my nose running? Let me spark this Jack. Epic failure. Because it's basically telling disabled people that they, the government, local, federal, don't give a fuck whether or not they live or die, and they are going to be placed in the biggest unvaccinated box, which is mostly everybody, right? And that speaks volumes to the disabled community, and they hear that, they see that, and they understand it, and they are taking it as a nod to soft genocide. Like, apparently we don't care if younger disabled people with underlying health conditions or who are immunocompromised die from COVID or not. And that is also a problem. And that is something that transcends party, unfortunately, gang. Neither Republicans nor Democrats give a fuck about the disabled. Next from the comments. What's up, Liu Kang? Liu Kang says, Kim, I've been trying to tell the people that it's going to be Ivanka or Jared, man. Liu Kang, you better tell more people, Liu Kang. They don't believe y'all. Y'all, listen. All the people who seem to think, and thank you, Lou, for bringing up that point, because I wanted to raise another point about how white liberals especially seem to think that, we can breathe a sigh of relief now that Donald Trump is out of office. Shit can go back to normal. Man, let me tell you something. That 2019 normal, fuck that normal. Fuck every part of that fucking normal. Like, motherfuckers was still houseless. Motherfuckers still was underpaid, right? Ooh, shall we talk about the minimum wage? Shall we talk about the stimulus? Oh, Lord. Let me tell you something. Shit has not got better since Joe Biden has been elected. Like, oh, yeah, let's go. Mm-hmm. Is it even light? Ain't this some shit? And see, this is the good thing about COVID, right? You ever smoke with somebody who had like lipstick on? Or chapstick? I'm dating myself now. Listen, weed smokers, if y'all are still entertaining company, don't pass joints with your company. Everybody get their own J, okay? The days of puff pass, you better not be passing that COVID joint to no fucking body, okay? Nobody. You smoke, everybody smoke their own. Everybody smoke their own. And see, now, as soon as I sparked the weed, what happened? I forgot what the fuck I was talking about. Because that's what happens. Okay. We got here. Oh, what's up, Butterscotch Sweets? Sorry. How you doing, sweetie? Butterscotch Sweet says, girl, forget mediocrity. He is less than mediocre, not good enough to also, not good enough is also okay with the girl. Listen, they get a chance after chance after chance. Lose $1 million, no problem. Here's $2 million to fix it. Girl. Listen, y'all. All right. That's what I'm saying. We have to drop the illusions, y'all. We have to drop the illusions. I understand that the Democrats are making a very compelling case. Did y'all see that video? The video of Officer Eugene Goodman, the Black U.S. Capitol Police officer who was leading the rioters, the murderous rioters who had murder in their heart, apparently, for some of these Congress people who led them away. But did y'all see the part where he like redirected Mitt Romney? And I was watching the news and they asked Mitt Romney, like, you know, did you talk to Officer Goodman after that? And he said he did. But I'm like, talk to him. Mitt Romney, you better cut the motherfucking check to Eugene Goodman. And it better not be no little check. I'm talking about 7 figures. And if it's not 7 figures, it better be high 6 figures. Because you know why? Mitt Romney got plenty bread. And I say plenty bread, I mean plenty bread. He got that Bain Capital money. Baby, Mitt Romney better pay off Officer Goodman's house. He better be putting his kids and his grandchildren through school, because let them murderous rioters, those Trump supporters, those Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, 3%ers, whoever the fuck they was coming up into the Capitol that day on January 6th, if they had got their hands on Mitt Romney was going to be in a lot of trouble. And I hope Mitt Romney understands how close he came to great bodily harm. And had it not been for Officer Goodman, who saved Mitt Romney's ass, we may not even be talking about Mitt Romney in the same way. And I mean that. So Mitt Romney can keep his thanks for Officer Goodman. He better cut Officer Goodman the fucking check. Cut the check, Mittens. Nobody want to hear that I thanked him for his service. No, fuck all that shit, dog. This man is a Capitol Police officer living in Prince George's County. He probably does all right, but he ain't doing Mitt Romney all right, okay? So I don't want to hear no shit from Mittens about that. Let me get back to these comments. Where else are we at in the comments? Thank you so much, Butterscotch Sweets, for your support. I believe Butterscotch Sweets is one of our patrons, and she has shown love. So thank you, my dear. Lisa, not Lisa Snowden, but a different Lisa. We have a Lisa Catlett. Hello, Lisa. You are a new name. I'm not familiar with your name, but welcome. Lisa says, word them up. Where is the money reside? Where the money reside, brother? Thank you. All right, well, let's get to where the money reside, y'all, because Joe Biden is very much out here faking the funk on the stimulus. And let's call it stimulus. Because Joe Biden is promising less money than what he had originally promised when he was begging for us to put his ass in the office, along with begging for us to get Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff into office. So, of course, the person that you would expect, or one of the people, I should say, but easily the loudest voice in the Senate, whom you would expect would have objections to reducing the size of the stimulus relief, is none other than Bernard. Y'all know his name. Say his name. Bernie Sanders, the independent Democratic socialist. Y'all know Big Bernie from Vermont. Bernie went on CNN and talked to Wolf Blitzer, and y'all know what Bernie had to say, but look, this is just confirmation. This is just validating that Bernie should have been in the White House right now and not fucking bullshit ass Joe Biden. So let's just take a nice little sigh and perhaps fantasize about what could have been if we had President Bernie Sanders, but we don't. So Tunde, if we could please, that CNN clip with Big Brother Bernie.
As you know, Senator, the president has said he's open to making some stimulus checks more narrowly targeted. Right now, they start phasing out for people earning $75,000, couples earning $150,000. Are you willing, you personally, Senator, to lower the eligibility for these checks? These are people, some of whom have lost their jobs, but many of them are still working.
No. The issue is not, I think, going below $75,000 for an individual or $150,000 for a couple. The issue is that there is some spillover. If you have kids, that families making $250,000 or $300,000 may end up getting some assistance. And I think we can eliminate that. But the truth of the matter is these income levels are based on people's income of a year ago or even 2 years ago. Many of those people are hurting today. And the truth is, you could be making a family making $125,000 with a bunch of kids. You are struggling today. So what we have got to do is understand this crisis impacts the middle class, it impacts the working class, it impacts lower income people. We are in this together. Meanwhile, the very, very rich are becoming phenomenally richer. So we need policies now where the government stands up for working families and the middle class and tells, by the way, the wealthiest people in this country, you know what, you're going to start paying your fair share of taxes.
Interesting. Thank you very much for that, Bernie. When you get a chance, Tunde, let's pop up that tweet from Bernie as well, because of course, you know, Bernie is going to be on the proper side of working families, of working people, basically. And the fact that the Biden administration is even considering means testing the stimulus is ridiculous. And as part of the $1.9 trillion proposed COVID relief package, one of the areas that Joe Biden is willing to perhaps compromise on has to do with the $15 minimum wage, raising it at the federal level. And this is what Bernie tweeted out. That would be just a few days ago, actually. He says the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, has demonstrated that increasing the minimum wage would have a direct and substantial impact on the federal budget. What that means is that we can clearly raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour under the rules of budget reconciliation. And as you guys know, that is one of the parts of the COVID relief package that the Biden administration appears willing to quote unquote compromise with Republicans on. Because as you heard Josh Hawley crying about how small businesses in Missouri are struggling, well, you know, it was the Trump administration who oversaw the PPP disbursement of which businesses received what amounts of stimulus. And we know how that went. Overwhelming majority of that money went to corporations, Trump cronies, Republican cronies, connected folks, and a lot of the small businesses got the shaft. So really, Josh Hawley can look at his own party and his own leadership for that. But again, I don't expect that much better from the Democrats. I hope that they would do better. I hope when there is actually another COVID relief passed, that businesses would do better. But we've already seen what the Biden administration is willing to renege on, or at least go back on. And what is the reason? You know, there was earlier this week when it was demonstrated by the Democrats, at least in the Senate, that they were willing just to go it along a straight majority vote. I was actually pretty encouraged by that. I mean, Kamala came in and cast the deciding vote and everything. I'm like, okay, now if y'all go and govern like this might be some shit I can get behind. But then they start hemming and hawing about the minimum wage, right? Then Joe Biden, and I wish I had pulled that clip. My bad for not pulling that clip, but you all saw it. He addressed, you know, he was standing at the podium and said the checks are going to be, stimulus relief checks are going to be $1,400, period. That's it. So, but when he says it with that sort of force and resolve, like I feel like he's talking down like to us, like specifically, like the same people he lied to about the $2,000 stimulus, right? Like he's angry that the same people who showed up, and again, I'm not a Biden voter. And when I say we, I mean Black people, because he received an overwhelmingly majority of the Black vote. So, and not just Black, but overwhelming majorities of marginalized communities. I mean, who the fuck was voting for Donald Trump? I mean, I know some dickhead did vote for Donald Trump, some people of color, but y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about us. I'm talking about us, right? Right. So he lied to us. He gonna size us up and tell us, yup, y'all put me, you put my Georgia homies up in the Senate. Yo, we gonna roll them 2K checks out next week. And that's what they said. They said them joints is going out immediately. Those were the direct quotes. And then what the fuck day is it? February 12th. Nigga, you ain't even been in office a whole month and you rolling it back. Listen, that's some bullshit. And that does not bode well for the Democrats going forward. I'm trying to tell you, because somebody on Twitter brought this up, so I'm not going to claim credit for this thought. But the observation was, as much hard work as all those organizers did in Georgia, getting people registered, getting people to the polls, right? To turn out not once, but twice, right? Like they had to show up on November 3rd, right? And then they had to show back up for the runoff election, right? So the Georgia organizers worked so hard to get people out to the polls off that $2,000 lie, man. Now, what y'all think that midterm output, voter turnout, what you think that's going to look like in 2022? You think people are going to show up for the fucking Democrats in the same way? I mean, especially considering, again, the level of risk people took going out to vote in a pandemic in record numbers. And Biden is like, you know what? Fuck y'all. Y'all can't count. I ain't say 2,000. I said 2,000 all together. I didn't say 2,000 at one time. And it's like, you can only play in people's faces but so long, right? And I feel as though the generations that are most engaged politically right now in entertaining, different ideas of what politics could look like outside of this Democratic Republican binary, I feel like the Democrats, if they want to go in this direction, they pick the right ones, baby. You want to fuck with Gen Z and the millennials. And I know us Gen Xers, we half dead inside, but we not 100% dead inside. You know, we was spirited and rebellious and upset about political actions and wars being waged in our name in our youth too. So really, you got 3 generations that's still very much about it. And I know there's some radical boomers out there. I mean, there's got to be more than Bernie and Angela Davis and Harry. I mean, listen, I know there's some radical boomers, but the thing is, it's the younger people's time. You understand? So if Democrats want to go this way, you want to play with these particular people who are not consumed with the issue of respectability anymore, who probably have more freedom of speech and diversity of ideas made available to all, largely at the same time, thanks to social media. Man, listen, y'all might have picked the wrong ones. This is not the time. This is not the time to be playing in people's faces, man. People are out here struggling. Financially, they are struggling to stay in their homes. They are struggling with mental health issues as a result of the lockdowns, dealing with having to educate their children under these very trying circumstances. And Joe Biden is out here playing with people's money. You gonna play with people's money? What'd you say, Tunde? What clip was that, dear? I'm sorry. I'm smoking. I done forgot already. What was I calling for? Oh, shit. Tunde got the clip, y'all. All right, we're going to run this Biden clip and I'm going to come back to these comments. Listen to Joe Biden talking about y'all can't math. Listen to Joe Biden tell us that we don't know how to add. Tunde, go ahead and roll it. Go ahead.
The American Rescue Plan is going to keep the commitment of $2,000. $600 has already gone out. $1,400 checks to people who need it. This is money directly in people's pockets. They need it. We need to target that money. So folks making $300,000 don't get any windfall. But if you're a family that's a two-wage earner, each of the parents, one making 30 grand, one making 40 or 50, maybe that's a little more than, well, yeah, they need the money and they're going to get it. And here's what I won't do. I'm not cutting the size of the checks. They're going to be $1,400, period. That's what the American people were promised.
Playing all in our face. Did y'all hear that, nigga? Did you hear Joe Biden talking that bullshit, talking about $600 already been paid out? Nigga, not by you. You had nothing to do with that $600, Joe Biden. That $600 was some bullshit when it came out, but it came. All right, fuck it. So we took it, right? No questions asked. Yes, nigga, give me my $600. But Joe Biden is act like he was part of the whole master plan for the $2,000. Oh yeah, I was part of that $600. Didn't y'all get $600? Yeah, but it didn't come from you. And I love all the tweets on social media. People, all tweets on social media. Listen to me, sounded like a high auntie, right? All the tweets, you know, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, you know, walking like they some bosses through the White House. And the quote tweet is, I can't stand to see niggas on the timeline who owe me money flossing, right? Like, come on, Biden and Kamala, y'all need to get out of here. From the comments, what's up, Ms. Nori? Ms. Nori said, yes, I love the show. Kim takes no prisoners. Listen, Ms. Nori, we don't have no friends in Washington. I'm talking about on Capitol Hill. We got lots of friends in Washington. But I'm talking about politically, nobody's our friend. We have very few friends. And the friends that we do have don't even represent most of us, right? Like, I think Cori Bush is our friend. Does Cori Bush represent Maryland's 4th Congressional District? No, she does not. How I wish she did. Oh, and by the way, as promised, I think I tweeted this, but I wasn't feeling well this week, so I wasn't doing a whole lot of social media. But I called all my Congress people. I called Van Hollen, I called Ben Cardin, and I called Anthony Brown. I left messages at Anthony Brown's office and at Ben Cardin's office, but someone at Chris Van Hollen's office answered the phone. And I spoke to the person and they seemed happy to help. Well, not help, but listen, because I told them, I said, hello. Yeah, my name is Kim. I'm calling from here and I'm one of his constituents and I need you to get comfortable about 2 minutes because I'm about to lay it all out for you. And I let them know, like, means testing this stimulus relief is austerity. It is some bullshit. Like, y'all are being stingy with the purse strings when it comes to the people who need it the most. But we're very generous and giving when it came to giving money to the corporations and Tom Brady's business who applied for a PPP loan and got like $2 million. Like all the people who didn't need the money, they were very generous in doling that out. Democrats who voted for that shit included Chris Van Hollen. So I was letting Chris Van Hollen's people know what was up. But I said, listen, I got laid off in December of 2020. So if we are going to means test this stimulus relief, I would not qualify for the stimulus because you're going to base the stimulus off my 2020 earnings in which I was employed from February to December, pretty much the whole year. So I pretty much made my whole salary, right? But as of right now, aujourd'hui, what day is this? February 12th. And I'm waiting on Maryland's unemployment, which is some bullshit because they are slow. By the way, have we said this already before? Maryland handled the whole pandemic, everything terribly. Maryland did not do a good job. Thank you. Fuck you, Larry Hogan. But I digress. So the way that they are intending to apply the stimulus is all fucked up because all they need to do basically is everyone who got the $600, give them the $1,400. Like, why is this even in debate? Why are y'all even trying to like figure out this calculus? And I really don't care for what Biden said there when he says the families that are making $300,000 don't need a windfall. First of all, to a family making $300,000, $2,000 is not a fucking windfall. That's probably their car note for 2 cars, right? I'm sure like the Benz is a stack and I'm sure the Range is another stack, right? Somewhere in there. So, okay, they got their car payments paid. If you make $300,000, chances are your housing costs are not $2,000. Because why? Because you make $300,000. So you probably go stay at a very nice spot. But my point is, I could give a fuck if the people who make $300,000 get the $2,000 stimulus. Big fucking deal. Because number one, America, we got it, right? We have the money to pay what was promised to all who are getting a stimulus. But trying to exclude the very small number of Americans who earn nice 6 figures to use it as justification to short everybody else who does not make nice 6 figures, which is the majority of workers, is backwards ass fucking logic. It's backwards ass reasoning. Like, a very small number of upper middle class people would be enriched by $2,000 or $4,000, as opposed to a very big pie of lower middle class, working poor people. I mean, $2,000 could be a monthly housing expense plus a utility plus maybe even some groceries, depending on where you are, right? So Joe Biden and the Democrats are just making excuses, right? Austerity excuses, because again, they get accused by Republicans and conservatives of mortgaging away our children's future by passing these big budgets. But these budgets are needed because all of our shit has been generationally and historically underfunded, except for police and the military. But I digress. From the comments, who is this? What's up, Anna? Anna Hart says, yep, why aren't you happy with crumbs? I'm not happy with crumbs. I know you're not happy with crumbs. Nobody's happy with crumbs. And that's why we have to stay on Joe Biden's neck from the jump. And oh man, I wish I'd have thought to pull up that Jason Johnson tweet, y'all. Hold on, because I too am from the island of misfit black girls. What's up, Dwayne? What's up, Dwayne? Dwayne Gladden, just giving me some flame emojis. Yeah, what's up, Dwayne? What's up, Dwayne? I was watching Clickbaity the other night too, and I heard Mondale call for Dwayne. Well, first he called you David. He said, David, Dwayne, play that clip. Which I laughed. You know I did laugh, Dwayne. What else did Dwayne say here? Dwayne says, Kim, what are you smoking on? Fuck. Oh, okay. So I don't know what this is called. It's called weed. I don't know what it's called, but okay, so I wonder if I should tell you how I came to have this weed. But you know, weed is legal mostly legal in Maryland. Anyway, let's just say a family member has a friend who picked up something from the dispensary for me. So that is how that is what I am smoking on, Dwayne. And see, because I'm smoking, I didn't forget what the fuck I was talking about before I started looking at Dwayne's comments and laughing that Mondale called Dwayne David. What'd you say, Tunde? Oh, Jason Johnson. Oh my gosh. All right. That Bama, do I have to find the fucking tweet? John B, don't look for the tweet because it may take you a while to find it. But if you have a moment, you can find it. Okay, so y'all know who Jason Johnson is, right? You know, respectable Negro extraordinaire. And you know, he was complaining on social media. This is why you should not smoke weed and try to host a show, because again, you forget things. But he was bitching, I think, about leftists complaining about Joe Biden's cabinet picks. Maybe this was in reference to Neera Tanden. But basically, he said something about y'all liberals, y'all don't support the empire, and that's the problem. And it's like, nigga, of course we do not support the empire. You do support the empire? Ooh, do tell me more. Tell me more how you support the American empire. Because last I checked, the American empire's sole purpose, its whole raison d'etre, is to oppress people who look like me and you. But I guess maybe he sees himself as above us all, that somehow he is excluded from the oppression, which, you know, must be very convenient. Hey, what's up, Schultzy? Schultzy 100 front of the show. Schultzy says, are these the best people our country can produce for leaders? No, they're not. But these are okay. These are the people who are connected, and these are the people who are willing to do whatever to sort of get ahead, right? And you know, I'm not sure what industries y'all work in, but usually the people who are bootlickers and ass lickers, pardon me, kissers, somehow putting their mouths on the cheeks of the butt cheeks of bosses, and take that literally or figuratively, however you so choose. But those people are who get advanced, not people who are actually good at what they do, not necessarily the people with the best ideas, not the people who are what I would call like visionaries, like people who enter their given field of passion and can see years down the road about how to improve this thing that they're in, or this industry, or this business, or whatever. But, you know, if you don't play the game, then you don't advance, right? So, no, Schultz, to answer your question, these are not the best people. These are the people who are willing to participate in white supremacy, who are willing to participate in the oppression, who are willing to participate in the slow walking of what could be a progressive path forward for the United States. I mean, I don't understand why immigrants, or at least people who come from different parts of the world, for example. So I understand why people who maybe come from like Central America, who are dealing with extreme poverty, a lot of destabilization in their society, I can understand why they would want to come here. But my acupuncturist is South Korean, right? And like recent to the United States. And I asked him, like, oh, why? Like, what? Why are you here? Like, you live in a stable country. Like South Korea's got some cool shit. But he broke down to me the reasons why South Korea is not the move, at least from his perspective. But I'm like, bro, but it ain't America right now. America is wilding, dog. Like, so anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up soon. What time? I see y'all done let me chat for a lot of time here, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. From Periscope, someone says for a lot of people, $2,000. That's right. $2,000 is more than what they make in a month or two. That's correct. And also from Periscope, it says they gave out a little money 2 times in 11 months and they act like it's doing something. It's not doing jack shit. Don't y'all understand? And I know y'all do understand. So I'm not going to sit here and try to explain something to y'all like I know it and y'all don't. But what y'all do know is the fact that the whole point is to get people back to work. Like they're slow walking the stimulus because they want motherfuckers back to work. That's the same reason they are rushing to reopen schools, because we know that your elementary age school kids can't sit at home and, distance learn all by themselves. No, someone has to be there with them, right? To do whatever it is that parents do with their kids. I would not know about these things, but I just assume that, adult supervision is suggested. So you got to get the kids back in school so you can get the parents back to work. So if we give people more than what they're earning, I hate the Republicans for that bullshit fucking talking point. Like they act as though stopping the pandemic is not the primary goal here, which as we can see by their policies, clearly it isn't, because of the grand opening and grand reclosing of shit. Like I'm anxious at what the next week is going to bring, because despite all the news reports of them saying that the COVID infections and new hospitalizations are down at the greatest point that they have been since the pandemic began, since the high point of infections and hospitalizations in mid-January. They say now like shit is down considerably. Well, what was last Sunday? Super Bowl, right? And what do Americans tend to do besides be stupid shits? Is be stupid shits, right? So I'm sure a lot of people showed up to Super Bowl gatherings, and we're probably going to see a spike in the next week, coming, 7 to 10 days or so, right? So I am not so optimistic that the pandemic is going to be reined in, because we live in a dumb country, led by dumb people, occupied by tens of millions of other dumb people who think that they can just power through COVID-19. So I cautious. Let's just put it that way. But y'all, I appreciate. Oh, wait a second. Before Molly told me to remind everybody that, first of all, thank you so much to all of our patrons, people who have been supporting us on Patreon. We did add 2 new tiers because a couple people, thank you, Talisha. Talisha from Progressive Queens. She said, girl, you need to up them tiers. Oh, look at you guys. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So we did. So we added a $10 tier, we added a $20 tier. And that's no pressure, because someone edited in a $1 tier for themselves. So I'm not upset at the $1. You know why? Because I'm just appreciative people show up to even like watch. If you want to give money, oh my God, I might name a firstborn after you, a firstborn puppy. I might name a whole litter after whoever gives us the most. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so lesson. Thank you so much to our wonderful supporters, Talisha Conklin, Carolyn Lampion, Emily O'Brien, Gregory Young, Janet Santos, Jeffrey Duke, John Coister. What's up, John? LSD, Lupman Nation, Jackie Lupman, Marcus Gabriel, Michael Leroy, Molly Shaw. Molly said she gonna keep this thing going no matter what. Roy Woody, Sam Gardner. What's up, Sean? Al, you're gonna have to drop me a pronouncer in the comments or something, because I always feel like I am not saying your name correctly, and you never have corrected me to my knowledge. So I guess I'm gonna say it the way I've been saying it. Al Grezniak. Yup. Black Magic, Damian Smith, Dylan Thompson, What's up, Emerging Translator Collective? I would love to know what the Emerging Translators Collective is. Justine Barron, friend of the show. Catherine Osmond, Marion Butcher, Nora, Samaya Amatullah, Foster. And what's up, Shanette? And all of our other supporters are under the $5 level. And we appreciate y'all for doing that. And do we have the results of the poll? Not the poll, but we had a poll going on Patreon as to what we should call the supporters of our show. And we did it by vote. Now, generally, I do believe in democracy. But okay. But you know what? Fuck it. This is what y'all voted for. We're going to go with that. And it's not that I'm not a fan. It's just perhaps not what I would have chosen. But you all chose it, and we're here because of you all. So we shall do what thine wishes us to do. So the fans of Burn It Down with Kim Brown are called the Fire Fam, the FFs. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about that? Drop it in the chat or the comments, or you can drop it on Patreon. You can look us up on Patreon, patreon.com/BID with KB, and find us. Hey, we don't have the other shit up yet. Dude, that's okay. That's okay. Twitter, we're on Twitter at Burn It Down KB, and I don't know. Hey, what else should we get on? Should we get on Twitch? TikTok? I mean, I don't fucking know. Like, I'm middle-aged and I have no children. So I'm loosely aware of the other applications that the younger generations tend to gravitate to. But let me ask y'all's opinion. So there's that. So Twitch, TikTok, what y'all think? Should we do some of that, some of this, some of that? Join us again right here on Tuesday next week for Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We will have some awesome discussions for you. I just put my J down because I get hot and I start to forget things and I start to ramble. And maybe perhaps that's not the best course of duty. But when we don't have company, I am going to be smoking. That's what I have made that decision. So on days that we don't have company, we're going to blaze. Okay. All right. Listen, you guys, COVID is still out here jumping on people. I do not want it to jump on you. Please social distance, wear your mask, wash your hands, do what you can to stay out of public spaces as best as you can. Thank y'all again for watching Burn It Down with Kim Brown. I certainly appreciate it. See y'all later. Bye-bye.